Hello, good evening. Welcome to Saturday's edition of Speed Talk Saturday, Pinoyathletics Speed Talk Saturday. Tonight we will have a special guest. It is currently 8:46 p.m. in Sydney, Australia. It's 6:46 p.m. in the Philippines. So tonight our special guest will be, in our view, the greatest women's marathoner in Philippine track and field history, Christabel Martes, who is a double SEA Games champion. She won the women's marathon twice, and she still currently holds the Philippine record in the women's 10,000 meters at 34 minutes 40. We'll be joined by Christabel Martes in around 13 minutes. But for now, I will do some shout outs and some quick news update things. Today it's just me. The other hosts are occupied with other things at the moment, part-time work and other commitments. So it'll just be me, Coach Enzo from Australia, just highlighting, some of the updates and that sort of thing. So I'll just briefly I've got a few birthday shout outs to give to start off the presentation. All right. So firstly, we're saying happy birthday to Talking Chinoy, Stephen Newton. He's our, he's one of our affiliates based in Hong Kong, who runs the very popular commentary on Philippine athletics vlog on YouTube, Talking Chinoy. He's also a regular co-host now with these editions of Pinoyathletics Track Talk Tuesdays and Speed Talk Saturdays. So we're wishing Stephen a very happy birthday. All right. Also, wishing a very happy birthday to Isidro Del Prado Jr., a good friend of mine, the 2013 SEA Games 4x4 gold medalist and a former UAAP 200 and 400 meter champion who turns 29 today. So to Isidro Del Prado, who's currently in the Air Force, we're wishing Tilo a happy birthday once again. Okay, I'll just take a brief break because I need to just send out some links. I'll do some quick shout outs momentarily. Okay, sorry, we're back now. Yeah, I just needed to post out the invite links to the guests to advise them how to enter the the stream. I'm just going to quickly check, do some quick shout outs if need be to see who's currently watching. Stay tuned, we do have more updates later this evening. Okay, I'm checking the shout outs here. So we have we currently have 8 people watching. We have shout outs to Delio Somatan and Kent Guion, Mendoza Allen, Joe Christabel Villar. So just shout outs to viewers. I'm now okay. So with more updates currently, so with updates, one of the big news stories this week is regarding the Sorsogon training bubble controversy, which is currently being investigated by the AATF. In light of the situation, a few days ago, the UST sports director, Friar Abrogado, has resigned, as investigations, both independently by UST and the UAP board, continue to probe the alleged training bubble situation. And in light of this, also NU's women's volleyball team is now under investigation as well regarding the alleged training bubbles. Okay. One moment. Okay, we should have guests coming in soon. I'm just getting some updates. Now, I'm just going to check. Okay. All right. So here's some updates on with regards to training, my training group. So these are from the 2 Philam athletes that I'm training over in the United States, both in their late teens. Up until now, we've been doing interval speed endurance and rubber shoes, like 200, 250, 300s. So to vary it up, I decided to copy a session of what one of my previous coaches had given me. It's a 250, 150 inverse ladder slack for 2 sets. So they were able, instead of going at 80% rubber shoes, the athletes were now instructed to go at 85%. And put on the spikes, and instead of just being given 3-minute rests between reps and 8 minutes between sets, they were given 8 minutes, 250, 8 minutes, 150, 5 minutes, 150, 5 minutes, 12 minutes rest between the sets, 8 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So the speed increased, the total combined distance decreased, the speed increase, they were able to use spikes. So it was basically, a quicker session, with more recovery in between. So at the end of that session, the stronger of the 2 athletes, he ran a 16.7 PB on the last 150, which is looking promising, heading towards testing week. Just a minute. I'm going to just have to send this link. to our guest. Apologies, I shouldn't really have been sharing that screen, but okay, just sent it. Now, I'll just go back to that share screen. So I should be sharing this screen. Okay. Again. Okay. All right. So yeah, like as I was explaining, total adjustment to the session, a little bit more speed, decreased the distance, gave more rest. Same number of reps, like probably more reps, but less distances, shorter distances. Because I mean, they were doing 2s, 250s, and 300s for 6 times. They're doing 1,800 meters worth of running. This is about 1,100 meters worth of sprints in total. So it's it's volume-wise, it's less volume. So yeah, all the other 3 also athletes that I'm helping at the moment, they're either recovering or doing road hills, because these 2 guys in the States, they have access to a track oval, whereas the ones training in the Philippines, they're having to use roads. So like, 2 of them are recovering at the moment. The other one is, we're mainly focusing on some road hills and, just workouts on the road, whatever length of road is available. I mean, we're having to make several adaptations, but we're still able to get training in provinces which are not, as contaminated as others in the Philippines with the COVID going on. So in next week, 2 of the athletes will be testing, 1 sprinter, 1 distance runner. Anyway, I'll get back to that in a moment. I believe I now have Christabel Martes online. So I'm just going to check to see if see if she has a. Okay, I'll just check to see if she has video. Hello? Okay, I can see Christabel has joined chat. I'm just going to check if she has video.
Here.
Hello, Christabel?
Hello. Oh yeah, wait. There you go.
Hello?
Good evening.
Okay, hang on. I'm just going to turn my volume up. Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Hi. Yeah, anyway, thank you for joining us. My other 2 co-hosts, one of them has a work commitment and the other one has a family commitment tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I guess it's just me interviewing you with, with our viewers on Facebook. Okay, so how have things been going with COVID?
Mostly I'm here at home, baking and cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand from our conversation the other day, you have a bakery business at the moment?
No. I just made to order.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
what is that, like cakes, muffins?
Yeah. Cakes, muffins, bibingka.
Okay. That's awesome. We had Mary Joy Tabal on Tuesday, and I think she's not only, like following your footsteps as the marathon queen, but she's also seems to be following your footsteps as the baking muffin type queen as well.
That's nice. To also prevent boredom.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, athletes are, like in this current COVID situation, I mean, most athletes are, just trying to find other means of income at this point with a lot of other income streams sort of not being possible at the moment.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yep. Hello?
Hello.
Hi. I'm guessing there's some issues with the sound, or okay. I'll just start with the questions that we've prepared from some of our members. Okay. All right. So, okay, here we go. All right. So today our special guest on Pinoyathletics Speed Talk Saturday is two-time SEA Games champion Christabel Martes. Is it from Baguio or from Benguet?
Benguet and Baguio.
Benguet, from Benguet. Okay, so I'll fire off with the first question, and the first question is from the bald man, Coach Ojon Artiaga, former Patafa National middle distance coach. His question to you is, what do you think about too much competition in full marathon? Is it ideal to run one marathon a year or more than two full marathons?
Yeah, that's the ideal. You have in your training program, you have to only target one or two marathons, full marathons a year.
So in a year, one or two full marathons, and in between that, I'm guessing 10Ks, 21Ks, and other distances.
Yeah, side events.
So, okay, so in a year, one or two full marathons. I'm guessing the logic behind that is in order to prevent burnout or preserve the legs for future years and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's also if you're really following a structured training program, or in order for you to meet your maximum goal for your main event, that should be just once or twice full Mary a year.
Yeah. Okay. So then the importance of in between that is like 10Ks and 21K type races. I mean, how many 21Ks should an athlete run in a year? If you're running one or two marathons in a year, and a training structured plan for a year for 21Ks.
I think if it fits, for example, like before, Coach Mar doesn't want us to always run in 21 and 10K. If it's for performance. For example, the will select a race 21 or 10K just to see the times, like when during rest weeks, like that, when you tend to go down on your load. So we find the 10Ks or 21Ks competition just to see how how much have we been doing in our training.
Question: when you were at the height of your powers in the women's marathon, what was the shortest distance that you would probably do a time trial in? Like, say for example, what sort of distance on the track would you do as a time trial when you were at the prime of your marathon career?
10K, 5K, 10K.
Okay, so like the shortest distance would probably be a 5.
Yes.
Okay. I'll just proceed to the next question, which is from me. Do you think that you would have ran a better personal best time in the marathon if you were given more opportunities to compete overseas at higher level meets?
Definitely. Well, not just in competitions, but also in training. You know, if we were given the opportunity to train like Mary Joy, she had the opportunity to train in Italy, in Japan, possibly.
Yep. So not just the not just the international exposures in terms of those higher level meets, but also
Yeah.
the opportunities to train with
Train. Yeah.
other training camps in other countries,
Mm-hmm.
with coaching styles and
Their
uh,
diets.
diets.
Yeah.
Okay. Next part of the question is, considering you did have great speed to any other Philippine marathoner, with your 10K national record, obviously no one's even gotten close to that 34-minute time. I mean, probably the next best is 37 or 36 or 37, or I'm not sure if Manipul did a 35 off the top of my head, but like as of recently, the best times we're looking at are maybe 37 or 36.
Yeah.
Some, like we're talking about 10 or 15 years after that 10K time was run, the next best times now around the 36 or the 37s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just as a matter of interest, I think we've touched topic on this before, but when I was talking with Coach Tony Benson regarding long distance running and marathons, he basically pointed out to me to note with women's marathoners what the times are for the 400 as well. Just as a matter of interest, what was your 400 PB?
My personal best is 61. Haven't been done sub 60 seconds because
Yeah.
our in our here in our province, training is not that consistent. So we just train in Palarong for the national meet. We just train 2-3 months before,
I mean,
like that.
Tony said it shouldn't really matter. I mean, 61 is not really too bad a time for a marathoner for the 400, because he told me that Paula Radcliffe was running about 60 seconds. Like, she only ran about 60 seconds for the 400. It's just that she just had. Tony told me that basically the less 400-meter speed you have, the more mileage and the more endurance you need to have, like the less speed that you have for the 400 play. And he said that the more mileage the athlete needs to do to compensate for not having that 400-meter speed.
Pardon?
Okay, I'll just repeat that. So Tony told me, I was talking to Tony Benson about marathons, about long distance training. He said to me that Paula Radcliffe from Ireland, you know Paula Radcliffe, right? I'm
Paula
guessing.
Radcliffe.
Yeah, Paula Radcliffe. She ran 60 seconds for the 400 meters, but she had a great marathon time. But to compensate for that sort of time, she had to do a lot of mileage and a lot of endurance work to be able to have that sort of marathon time. She had to do a lot of miles a week compared to somebody who had a good 400 time who has to do, less mileage in a week.
Yes.
But if we look at, like, let's say, for example, your 400-meter time is about 61 seconds. So Mary Joy Tabal, according to our conversation, she's run about 59 or 60, probably 59, just under 60 for the 400 at best. But if we look at Halasgo, I don't think, after we interviewed Christine Halasgo as well, I think that, she said that she runs more like 64 seconds for the 400 meters.
How many?
Well, we had an interview with Christine Halasgo about her best 400-meter time, and she said, like she said, about 64 seconds.
64, I see.
Yeah.
She's fast also.
But I suspect that, like, I'm not exactly sure of what the training of Burtic is versus the training of Duenas or whoever trains Mary Joy Tabal. But, what I observed at the SEA Games was that Mary Joy Tabal led most of the way, and then Halasgo just won at the end of the race. I'm not sure, but, like, my suspicion is that maybe Halasgo was doing more mileage.
I just don't know because Joy trained in Japan, so I'm sure her mileage is higher than Halasgo. But Christine is training in here in the Philippines, which is humid compared
So
to
more
the
used to the temp. You think it was more to do with the adjustment to the temperature than the.
Yes, that's one.
Also, during that marathon, I heard that, like, about 2 days before the course, they changed the course.
See.
The international technical official decided to change the course because he felt it didn't comply or something. So I believe that the course that was originally planned at New Clark got changed 2 days before the event was due to start.
Mm-hmm. And the start time was too hot. That's why.
Yeah, like, I mean, they could have.
That's
I'm not sure what. I can't remember. I think it started at about 5 or 6 or something. But, like, I think they wanted it to start earlier, like 4 or 3:30 or something like that.
five is okay because before we started Manila Sea Games 5:15, I think. No,
Do you
5.
remember, like,
We were
at the
ahead.
SEA Games? Yeah.
SEA Games Manila, we started 15 minutes ahead than men's.
What do you remember at
O'clock.
New
Yeah.
Clark for this year? What time the women's marathon started? Because I can't recall. I think it was about 6 o'clock. I can't remember exactly, but I know that it was 6 o'clock or after 6 o'clock. I don't think that they started the women's marathon at 5. I think it was around already 6 or 7. Or maybe not 7. Maybe it was like 6 or 6:15 or something to that extent.
Last
In New Clark.
I think 6. I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you watch the marathon in New Clark?
No, haven't.
So you were not. Were you at the SEA Games, or you were back
No,
in?
I was here back home.
Yeah. I did watch the race. I mean, I
I
watched.
know.
I did watch the marathon.
We we were in coaching masters.
Sorry.
Asian coaching.
Oh yeah, you were at the. Were you at the Asian Masters during the time of the SEA Games, or
Asian Masters. Asian Masters.
the Asian Masters?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll just proceed to our next question. So this is my third question regarding you worked nearly all your career with Coach Mario Castro. What did you learn most from him, and what qualities make him such a great coach?
Mhm. Well, the most I learned most from him on his the discipline, the dedication on training. That's what Coach Mario. I know about Coach Mario on more on of his his heart to impart his knowledge on coaching, and also his support. You know the
Can
the
you elaborate a bit?
sacrifices he made, especially during long runs when we need the hydration. He used to ride on his motorbike and then assist us with our changing clothes, um, any our hydration, the gels, the energy gels we need. When we used to go long run from Baguio to La Union. So with the other coaches like Coach Ojon, when he was still in the national team also and in Baguio,
Yep.
type of person. He's timid but he's wise. Yeah,
What age were you when you started training with Coach Mario?
with Coach, I was 19 years old.
So,
Just
how
finished
many? Yep, yep.
yeah, third year. When I finished this in third year college, I joined the summer training with him and other local runners.
Um, so I understand before you started training with Mario, or before you were a marathoner, 5 and 10K runner. I understand that you had a um, different event during the Palaro.
Yeah, palarong pambansa.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
uh,
uh,
could you share that with us?
I when I was in high school and in tertiary, I used to run sprints, the 400 plain and hurdles. I got two bronze in in hurdles, 400 low hurdles. Yeah.
Um, so, why the change from sprints to long distance? Or did you go to sprints to middle distance to long distance, or did you go straight from running 400 and 400 hurdles straight to 5,000 meters? Or was there a transition in between with middle distances like 815 and steeplechase?
I used to run also middle distance, but not so. Just during 99 when there was when what's this, the Panagbenga Flower Festival 21K. They held it here, and then I just no I have no idea. I even didn't train for that distance, so I tried, and then I placed second. So that's it. That's the start. When Coach Mar saw me, who was that girl like that? He was asking, and then I got interested. And also with the one long distance runner here, he told me she told me that the Coach Mar was looking for a lay female runner that he can train. So I approached him after exam, and then there from that on I started training already with him
So when
together.
you went to Coach Mario, your events were primarily sprints and some, um, some um, experience of middle distance, but basically when you went to Coach Ma like decided, okay, Christabel's going to run 5,000 and up.
Yeah, 5,010 at first.
Yeah. Well, did Coach Ma explain to you at that time, at that point, why he felt that that you were better suited to those events, or did he not explain it straight away and you kind of found out and then he kind of explained it later?
No, not really. But I just told him that coach, I wanna train. I want also to experience, the training in long distance. So
Yeah.
he said, just said to me, okay, that was, I think, March of 99, and then April he said, okay, you're going to run the 5 and 10 in national open. And then in fact, I can still run in the juniors, but he said, okay, you join the senior category. And then I got two silver in 5 and 10.
So at that point, when you joined with Coach Ma, you knew that he was a long distance coach, but you wanted to try to see how well you could go at long distance. At that time, did you feel that it was the right move when you decided to go to Coach Ma? Because obviously, even at that time, he was probably a very well-renowned coach. Did you
Mhm.
feel that perhaps you just didn't have enough speed to be successful in the sprints and the middle distance, and you decided that with the speed you had, if you had built up your endurance, you would be more successful in the long distance events?
Actually, I didn't have any idea. I just, when I was in high school, I was looking at the national team in the teachers camp training, and I said to myself, someday I'm gonna be also in the national team. Someday I'm gonna also be representing our country, like that. Those dreams, and then
So it wasn't
um,
just a case of I just want to try it and see how it goes. It was kind of like there was that desire there that you wanted to, be successful in what you were setting out to do.
yes, no, I trusted Coach Mar, the trust, and also, like I said, when I joined the 21K my first time, it was really so hard, but the money, the what do you call this, the price was a bit high that time. So wow, it was a motivation for me to try long distance, and then that's it.
Okay. I'll move to next question. But again, this is another one from me, and then there's questions from Pinoy Myler after this. How helpful do you think training at altitude is for long distance athletes, and how do you feel that coming from a very mountainous area that benefited you as an athlete?
Mm. It is very helpful considering the thinness of the air here at high altitude place, Baguio.
Yep. You're from Benguet, or how do I say it?
Jen.
Um, are you from the same? Is Hector also from there as well, or is he from another part of that province?
Who?
Hector, Hector
Hi,
Benguet.
Hector Bigeo. He is originally from Mountain Province. It's higher
So
than
that's
Baguio.
different. So that's a different part from. That's
Different
a
part.
different part from your hometown.
Mountain
Okay.
Province, yeah. Higher elevation than Baguio.
Okay. This was. Oh yeah, this is another one from me as well. Then I've got some from Myla. Are you currently coaching anyone at the moment?
At the moment, none. It's
Okay.
because of
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Okay. And you've already done some certification as a distance coach. I believe you've taken seminars, you've taken certification as a distance coach.
I think only the base, but I read, and then Coach Mar gave me his book, so I read also those ones. I know a bit how to do training programs, but I want more to enhance my knowledge, specifically in making the training program for long distance. I also
So
have
you,
plans as well.
so
I
you do
want
have plans
also,
to coach in the future, maybe after the
yeah.
pandemic. Yep.
Nah, I want
Um,
also to be in the national team,
yep.
produce champions also. That's my
And
future
you also have
plan.
a daughter. You also have a daughter, right? How old is your child at the moment?
She's 13. She's into swimming, not
Okay, so she's more into not so much into athletics, more into swimming. But Leah, I was going to ask if
run.
your daughter's into sports. So how old is your child at the moment?
Hello?
How old is your daughter?
13. She's in the eighth
Okay,
grade.
so in high school now, but
Yeah,
more into swimming. So like still into sports, but more into the swimming events.
swimming, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Um, so these are the questions. These are the final set of questions we have from Pinoy Myla. So this is from Pinoy Myla, right? Moriel Carry On. Okay. So yeah, his questions are Moriel Carry On, formerly of UST. So these are his questions. Your record in the 10,000 meters will turn 20 years old next year. Do you see any potential homegrown athlete that can break this record coming up?
Or if they, if they really have the heart, yeah, have the heart in training, so dedication and the discipline follows. They can, everyone, and the records are meant to be broken. So anyone who's
Yeah.
striving to break that can.
Um, okay, his next question was, if you can still remember, can you give us an idea what was your typical training week during the year 2001 when you set that 10,000 meter record?
Oof, I can't. An
Or do
idea is
you remember
I just
roughly,
I only remember we had high mileage at that time, because
do you
there was
remember
1,000,
how
so
much
we were
miles
training.
you were doing in a
We were
week?
training. We were mainly training for the full Mary. So we had high mileage during those times, and lots of speed work.
Yeah, so with speed work, what do you mean exactly by what sort of things would you say would have be counted as speed work? Because being a sprint coach, um, speed work is very different in say sprints to it is in middle
Yeah,
distance
it's
and long distance.
more of a constant repetition, depending on how many and on where are you already on the training program and in the
So
target time. So it's more of the consistency and the repetition.
yeah, so what sort of distances are classed as speed work for a
For
for a
hundreds,
full marathon?
we did hundreds for 100 quarter miles at
Yeah,
25 times to 30 times, like those
yeah.
1,000
So
repeats.
if you're doing say
200,
25,
also 200 meters. We do sets, like for example
how much
4 times.
rest?
It depends also, but in between those repetition, we depends 30 minutes, I'm sorry, 30 seconds minimum,
Yeah.
and
So
then
it's a very
every set we do maybe 2 3 minutes, like those, rest or jog
So,
one lap.
okay, so like say for example, if you're doing 30 400s, like it
Mm-hmm.
would be broken into smaller sets, or you
Yeah.
just do 30 times and you just have 30 seconds in between, or you get like a longer rest in between if it being
Five.
broken
We
into
like
sets.
example, if we did that 30 times, it's 5 times 5 sets like those.
Yep, yep. And longer rests between sets, obviously. So instead of 30 seconds, what, like 2 or 3 minutes between sets or more?
Oh no, between ano, we had also had 30 seconds in between. The funny thing, I was only the girl in the long distance team with Vertex, Alan Ballester. The
And
funny
Vince,
thing,
yep.
after the 400 repeat, then there's 30 seconds rest. And then, of course, I was behind. And then, when 30 seconds is over, I only got 10 seconds rest. And then, boom again, repetition. So
So
it was hard.
because you were behind and you had to catch up, basically
Ye-
your rest got consumed with having to
Yes.
catch up to the next
Yes.
repetition.
Yes.
So did you survive, like when you did 400, obviously you finished that session. Were there any times where you kind of had to throw up, or like
No, I did.
was it
We were all scared. When at time, really, when it's workout time, we were really serious. No
yeah,
joke.
so no one
For
threw up
Coach
after
Mark,
those sort
serious.
of sessions, like even though even though you only get about 30 seconds to recover in between. So, like, okay, so let's say, for example, I don't know, you're doing speed work, you're running 400s 25 times. At what percentage were you running? At what effort percentage were you running them?
It's between 70 and 80 seconds.
So that's still pretty quick, because that's like,
Yeah.
let's say, for example, if your best time's one flat or 101 and you're running 70 to 80 seconds, that means you're running at 110 to 1 minute is about, that's already, I don't know, maybe it's not 90%. No, actually, uh, that's about 80. That's about 80 to 85% based on my
Mm-hmm.
calculation, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe 75 to 85%. So yeah, because 60 seconds is a minute, so 60 seconds, 90% is 66 seconds of 1 minute. So 60, yeah, so it's about 75 to 85%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so mainly it was a combination of speed work and um, long runs, which contributed towards training towards that marathon, towards the marathon of 2001. But because of the training that was being done towards the marathon, you just so happened to be able to break the Philippine record in the 10,000 meters as well with that 34-minute run.
Yes. Yes.
Do you recall, for that? Do you recall like what sort of mileage you like? How many? I'm not sure if you measure it in miles or kilometers, but do you recall?
Kilometers. I
Yeah,
think
we're doing it.
during our peak, I
Yeah,
think it's 200. I think 160 to 200, like that, a
I'll
week.
just write that down, because like Tony and like Stephen talking Chinoy, they like these sort of stats. Like they like to know how many, like. So that's quite a lot of mileage. So
Yeah.
was it possible that during the peak at one point you were doing up to just almost 200 kilometers a week in terms of the total amount of mileage that was being done. Um, so obviously, you had Bonavista and Ballister and quite a few other male athletes in the group. Were you all doing the same amount of mileage, or would they have been doing a bit more, or were you all pretty much doing almost the same amount of mileage? Obviously, not as quick as them, but like, were you doing the same amount of mileage as the guys in the group, or were they doing a bit more?
With the men, they were doing a bit more, because Coach Mar gives, for example, like in hours, not in kilometers. our load. Say for example, our long run on hour 30. So with the men, they covered that time with more distance than me.
Oh, okay. So
Had
in
higher
some, yeah. So
higher.
in some training sessions, the purpose of the training session is basically how you can go and how far or how many kilometers you can cover in a set amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Was was that how the structure?
There were sessions like those that this target time you should be covering this distance like those.
Yeah. So did Coach Ma give sessions like, say, for example, you need to run for an hour, and then he records the amount of time that gets covered in the hour, or or like was it more you run the you basically have to run for a set distance and then you record the time, or was it also you run for an amount of time and then the distance gets recorded as well?
I don't know with Coach Mar because we just tell the you just tell the distance like that. I don't know if he records it, but of course it does. He did maybe I think.
So you're all using, I'm guessing even back then, you're all using watches that, like count the amount of
Timex,
kilometers that you're doing. Okay.
Timex.
Yep. So the next question, the last question we have from Pinoy Milo is, we have so many road races here in the Philippines for the last 10 years or so. Unlike during the 90s and early 2000s, why do you think Filipino athletes of your caliber are still hard to come by, specifically in the 10K event? Now, as I said before, apart from Miss Adita Manipul, I don't think anyone else has gone under 36 minutes for the 10K event.
You know the problem nowadays. Runners tend to race often, so the recovery is short. The training program is compromised already. You
Um,
know,
by racing often,
yeah, racing often. Saturdays, every Saturdays,
yeah.
Sundays. So their load doesn't their load is stagnant. You know.
So during that time period when you were running the 10,000 meters and the time period where you won those two Southeast Asian Games titles, just off the top of my head, I can't remember what years were those two Southeast Asian Games titles. One of them was in about 2001 or 2003. I can't recall.
The
The two times you won the SEA Games women's title in the marathon.
2001 and 2005.
Okay, so my question, and also, was it around when 2001 that the 10,000 meter record was set?
I'm not sure. I have to check on that. Sorry.
Around that time period. So let's just say the time period between 2000 and 2005. So those in those 5 years, how often would how often would you actually race in that time period? Because we're saying that the issue now is that a lot of runners are just running almost every week for that prize money, or
Mhm.
they're just running every week. Every time there's a road race, they get the opportunity, they go and have a run on a week-to-week basis. But when you were at your prime, 2000, 2005, in that era, how often would you have had a race?
Ah, I think only once a month or maybe none because we depend on what coach we have to seek Coach Mars consent first before we plan to enter in a race.
So Coach Ma was very conservative in regards
Yes,
to,
of course. We respect
protecting.
his training program.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, so like in other words, he was trying to make sure that his athletes didn't over race. So when it came to the more important competitions, such as I don't know the Sea Games and other meets, that the
Mm-hmm.
athletes were ready to go and win medals at these meets rather than go to the Sea Games and not be able to finish the race, or like
Mm-hmm.
almost come near the back of the race, sort of thing.
Yeah, and Manila, hot. It's hot in the lowland, so the our body tends to recover longer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, with Baguio, it is a lot more ideal to train than in
Mm-hmm.
Manila, because for a start, if you're in Manila, where are you going to run? Like, I mean, it's all traffic and polluted streets, and
Yes.
you may even get the risk of getting bitten by a dog or something if you turn the wrong corner. So it's compared to Baguio, where you've got a lot of trails and a lot of like open areas to run, and obviously the altitude's a benefit, and you've got that more ideal for long distances, not the hot weather. The hot weather is fabulous for sprints, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean for
Mm-hmm.
long distance events, you can't really, your body can't really cope with like all that strain from the heat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll just check to see if we have any more questions um, from the group. We have actually got um, we actually have got 24 people tuned in at the moment. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of them are your friends from long distance running.
Mm-hmm.
I saw quite a few very familiar names there. I'll just give you a few shout outs here. So these people have tuned in today. Um, Emerson Hassan, Jaime Cabalan, Jeffet Fernandez, Lahaina Guillermo, Roger
Guillermo.
Labruza, Carlos Frank, Nola Niebra, Mark Neil Peralta, and there's more. Delio Samatan, Kent Gion, Marcecilia Fabrical, Kai Manilung, Hans Aragona, Joshua Matthias, Lanid, Guillermo, Nian Bagsena. There's quite a few of them tuning in. I'm just going to quickly just check to see if we have any more questions, and then we'll probably wrap this up. Just a quick question, just off the top of my head. You're still competing at masters level, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, were there any planned masters meets coming up,
Nah.
or have they just
Nah.
been put on hold?
Virtual races, and I'm not interested.
Virtual races.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. Like what I've read, I've seen online a little bit about um, virtual races.
Mm.
How exactly does that work?
I don't know. Maybe you have to submit your performance, and then
But do you
they
actually?
that categorize, or I mean the standing.
So the problem is with that, though, you've got to submit your performance for a virtual race. But the thing is, like in some places, you're not even allowed to go outside. So do you have to do a virtual race on a treadmill or on a bike or something? How does it work? If like, is it acceptable to submit a performance on a virtual race if you're on a treadmill? Because like in some places, you're not
I
even
don't know.
allowed to go outside to jog.
Mm-hmm. And no, I just cooking and baking.
And also, like, how does it work as well? Do they have like, how do they make sure that with the times submitted from the virtual race, that the times are actually accurate? Like, there isn't the possibility of some athletes tampering with the times and then submitting times that have been
Yeah.
tampered with. or is there a measure in place for that?
I don't know. I got no idea really. Absolutely no, none. I think they
Okay,
have an app for that.
an app. Okay. Oh, what happened there? Oh no. Oh no. I think we got Oh,
Oh,
here we go. So I think you just got cut off there for a minute. Anyway, I'm just going to wrap this up. So that's basically all the questions we have for today.
mm,
Yeah, so like I'm hoping that things go well for you in the during this pandemic with your business, and um, that after this pandemic you're able to pursue your coaching ambitions,
mhm.
um, and some of your masters running as well.
Yeah. Back to ano.
Okay. Well, again, for a start, also wishing you again a belated happy birthday from the other week.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
I hope I
And
shared too.
yeah, thank you for taking time on a busy Saturday to share these share your career and training experience with Coach Ma and your journey with the rest of the athletic community. We
Thank you.
really appreciate it.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's all. I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you very much for
You.
joining us tonight.
Thank you also.
Okay.
Bye. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just wrap up the rest of the talk. Again, it was good to have Ms. Christabel Martes on the um, this edition of Pinoyathletics Track Talk Saturday, Speed Talk Saturday. So I'll just finish off with my explanation of the training group updates. So yeah, so next week, two of my athletes are having training um, testing done at track ovals. Um, you know, one's in the States, one's in Mindanao. So they each have access to track ovals. So as well as that, I had my own testing done for weights this weekend after not doing weights for a week. I had a bad, like a bit of a tired hamstring. So I was able to do that should be deadlifts. So I was able to do 165 kilos times two in the deadlifts, improving from last month's 155 times two. Still very far off my 200 kilo PB from 2016. The power cleans, I was able to increase up to 85 times two, 85 kilos times two, after failing the first rep. Last month I was able to do 75 times three, so there was quite an improvement on that one. My PB was 110 kilos times two in 2016, so I'm probably closer to my deadlift PB than I am to my power clean PB at this point. So it's just a work in progress because I've had, I didn't lift any weights for 2017, 2018, and 2019 because the thing is when you're coaching and you're really, what's the word? You're really um, focused on coaching, and you're coaching full time and a lot of and and not just coaching but really coaching, like full time coaching, a lot of detail. You've got 18 athletes or 23 athletes it was at one point to handle. You really don't have time to train yourself. So that's why I basically just took almost 3 years off, lifting, and like now I just got back into it in 2020 when when I was a bit more settled. I'm also taking the time in COVID to finish off my level 3 Athletics Australia sprints and hurdles certification, which will be done at the end of October. Okay, so and I have a video here of the one of the two athletes I'm training from the States. Um, doing the guy who ran the 16.7. He's had quite a good week. He ran the 16.7 PB for the 150 on Tuesday. On Wednesday, he did this magnificent box jump at 54 inches. The guy's only 5'4", and he also did 3 sets of 6 on 130 kilos in the deadlift, plus 3 sets of 6 on 55 on the cleans. So there's just a video of him doing the box jump, which I will share with you. It's a 54-inch box jump. He does a couple of them, so he does one. He's wearing a mask as well in the gym, which I like to see. So a lot of these other people standing around don't seem to be wearing masks. So he does form 2, and then so he's a short guy, but he's really explosive. So he's really working well in the gym, working well on his plyometrics, working well on his technique in the track, and follows instructions well. Okay. So I'm asking this question to the athletic community. I posted this poll just recently on Pinoyathletics. If a student is recruited by a school on an athletic scholarship and they follow the coach's program 100%, and in the year they do not improve or they only improve very marginally, should they be removed from their scholarship? Considering in this instance that the student has good or passing grades, what do you think? You can log into Pinoyathletics Facebook group on www.fb.com, Pinoyathletics / one word, and you can have your say in this poll that we're conducting right now in regards to athletic scholarships. Now, I'm just going to finish off with our last piece of information that we have for this evening. So the focus has really been on Ernest Obienna's campaign over in Europe after he qualified for the Olympic Games in the men's pole vault. He's now just, trying to piece together a series of nice performances leading up to the Olympics. In the meantime, in the United States, SEA Games record holder Christina Knott, the SEA Games record holder and champion of the 200 meters, is still chasing that 22:80 Olympic qualification standard. Christina Knott will be in action at 1 a.m. Philippine time. So you guys better get on your speed goggles, because Christina Knott will run the 100-meter dash on Saturday, August the 29th in the US time at 12 o'clock midday, which is 1 o'clock a.m. in the Philippines. She'll be competing at the Blue Oval Showcase at Drake, Iowa. Knott opened her season with a 11:51. Her PB from the Asian Grand Prix last year was 11:42. At the SEA Games, she finished second in a time of 11:56. So she opened 0.05 faster than her SEA Games silver medal time. So Christina Knott will have 2 athletes in that race who have ran under 11 seconds. One of them is Kayla White, and the other one is the 2016 Olympic long jump champion, Tiana Bartoletta. There will be 4 women in the race in total. Christina Knott is still waiting to see if the organisers will allow her to join the 200 meters. The 200 meters is a very strong field with everybody in the race, all sub-23 second runners, led by Shawnee Miller Oibo of the Bahamas, who has ran 21:98 this year. This information was kindly shared by Christina's coach, Rosanne Griffin. This will be streamed at 1 a.m. Philippine time. We will try and find the stream to provide for the Philippine athletic community to, if they would like to stay up and watch Christina have a go at the 100. And if she can, if she's allowed, if the organisers will let her run in the 200, then it gives her that, that shot to try to qualify for the Olympic Games in the 200 meters, having to hit 22:80 to get an outright qualification slot. So Yeah, she has ran. Her PB is 23:01 at the 2019 Sea Games. She has ran. She did start off with a windy 23.21 in her opening race um, for the season. So she'll be looking at getting into some good races. In the United States. I'm not sure if there's plans for her to race in Europe, but like those all she really needs now is those quality races and some good conditions in order to you know get that outright qualification of 20 to 80 for the Olympic Games. Now, in the women's 200, the qualifying period is actually not set until November 30 until June 13. That's the qualification bracket. Because of the COVID, the qualification period was a bit different. They have a non-qualification period which runs from around June of this year up until about November 30. So we're in the non-qualification period at the moment. But if you can get those good races and get that consistency, there shouldn't be any issues. Being able to hit that Olympic standard in the actual qualification period. If you can consistently get those good races and get those times in. And as far from my research, there are I believe there was 32 or was it 30, 40, 32, 40 slots in the women's 200. And I think that it was 21 or 22 of them were already done. So there was an additional 15 or 16 slots left in the women's 200. But, like for any event in the Olympics, it's best, not to rely on getting in based on bonus slots or whatever. It's best to hit that outright qualification, because if you get the outright qualification, you definitely, getting on that plane to the Olympics. If you try and rely on bonus slots, it's a bit of a hit and miss, because what happens is there's a limited number of slots. If let's say for example, there's 40 slots in the women's 200, for example. I'm not sure if that's the exact, but like let's say hypothetically, if there's 40 slots in the women's 200, and like what happens if 40 or 45 women hit below 22.80 in the qualifying period? Then there are no bonus slots left, obviously, because I think the only way they would send more than the allocated number of slots for the Olympics is if more people actually hit that outright standard. Once more than the number of slots hit that outright standard, then there's going to be no bonus slots left, because all the bonus slots are really just there if not enough people hit the standard. So yeah, it's better to go out and hit that standard so you actually get in without any questions. And yeah, and that's what I believe that is the plan for Christina, is to just go out and hit that standard. So then all you need to do is, once you've got the standard, then you're going. So you can just focus back on training and that sort of thing. So anyway, yeah, so it's been more than an hour. I'm surprised I was able to have this much information, with a small amount of information, to actually go over an hour today. But anyway, I think that's all we have time for. So we'll be trying to look for that live stream for you guys for the for track talk. This is Saturday Speed Talk with Coach Enzo. Again, to the athletic community of the Philippines, thank you very much for joining us today, this evening rather. It's now 10 o'clock in Australia, 8 o'clock in the Philippines in the evening. So yeah, so with COVID and all, I'm hoping everybody stays safe, remembers to wear a mask, remembers to follow the protocol, and try and stay positive in this situation. So again, we'll have a live streaming of Christina Knott at 1 a.m. Philippine time. Tune in again for another exciting edition of Pinoyathletics Track Talk Tuesday. We will post the scheduled time closer to the date. Usually it's in the afternoon or in the evening. We don't have an exact date yet. We don't have a guest. We were fortunate enough to get Christabel on today, and we had Mary Joy Tabal on Tuesday. So yeah, it was a double dose this week of former marathon queens, and also a double dose of muffin queens. New muffin queens um, for the week. So anyway, thank you, and bye everybody.